Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Network Sunday, September 6th, 2015. This is episode 1218. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 100-plus job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidate fast. Try ZipRecruiter with a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/TechGuy. And by Samsung SmartThings. Samsung SmartThings lets you monitor, control, and secure your home from wherever you are using your smartphone. Right now, the Tech Guy listeners get 10% off any featured Samsung SmartThings kit and free shipping in the U.S. when you go to smartthings.com/TTG and use the offer code TTG at checkout. And by Gazelle. Would you like to get cash for your old iPhone? Gazelle makes it easy. The shipping is free. The payment is fast. What's your iPhone worth? Find out at gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater, digital photography, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Samsung and Sony announced brand new watches at IFA this week, the big Berlin, what do you call it? IFA is an interesting story. It started in the 20s. It was about radios, when radio was new. That's how old IFA is. It has now become Europe's answer to the Consumer Electronics Show. In fact, today it's fun at IFA. They allow the public in on the weekend. So the weekdays are for the press, but unlike CES and Comdex, those other big trade shows, which were normally open only to dealers, manufacturers, and the press, they let the public in, which is, I think, nice. In any event, at IFA, they announced quite a few new smart watches. I think people are feeling like this is a category that's going to explode. I mean, after all, Apple's doing it, and yet Apple's not even the best-selling smart device. What do we call it? Wearable. The Fitbit outsells the Apple Watch, according to at least one analyst. They have only sold a little over 1 million Apple Watches in 6 months. So it's far from... far from a monopoly, far from owning the category. There's still space. And I think it's far from having solved the category. And it may be, we'll see, it may be unsolvable. Next Wednesday, this Wednesday, 3 days from now, Apple's going to have its event. And among other things, besides announcing new iPhones, perhaps new iPads, certainly a new Apple TV, Apple may also take the wraps off Watch OS 2.0. And that'll be a big change for the Apple Watch because for the first time ever, it'll be able to run standalone applications, not applications running on the iPhone that are kind of communicated to the watch, but actually on the watch. And that could make a big difference. So we shall see what happens with the category. I'm personally a little skeptical. I think it's kind of small. The Apple Watch doesn't even do the one thing a watch should do, which is tell the time all the time. It turns itself off. To save battery, it turns itself off unless you're looking at it. It feels like that's kind of like a basic, kind of a fundamental thing that it should do. Android Wear watches do have what they call an ambient mode. They manage to stay on even when you're not looking at them in a kind of a low power, just the facts, ma'am mode. Today we'll talk about that. We'll talk about smartphones as well. Apple's going to announce a new iPhone. There's more and more information leaking out. Remember, these are leaks. They're not definitive, so it's not a guarantee that that's what's going to happen on September 9th, but we think we know. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, could talk about, let's see, digital photography. We could talk about anything with a chip in it, computers, the internet. 8888 Ask Leo is the number, 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can also call call via Skype. Sometimes people say the tech industry is so self-absorbed, so narcissistic, so inward-looking that they don't pay attention to what's going on in the outer world. There was a kind of damning piece published this week saying, forget all the smartwatch, smartphone stuff. What about the tragedy, the migrant tragedy? Well, I think I think we can pay attention to more than one thing at a time. A pat on the back to Google, which has donated €1 million, about $1.1 million, to the organizations helping refugees. I think the tech community is very aware of the outside world. And it's really interesting to see these billionaires start to step up in terms of philanthropy. Bill Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he says he's going to give away 90% of his fortune, billions of dollars, and he's doing it. He always said, I'm not going to do this if I can do it right. I'm too busy running Microsoft. People criticized him for that. But, he was good. He was true to his word. As soon as he retired from Microsoft, actually even before then, he started pumping billions of dollars into things like vaccinations in Africa, mosquito reduction in Africa, things like that. Mark Zuckerberg's donated many millions, the founder of Facebook. Although, what was it? How much did he give to the Newark public schools? There's some question about how well that went. Giving some weight to Mr. Gates' announcement that he was going to wait till he could do it right. It's easy to give, to just say, here, write a check. Harder to make sure that that check does something. He gave $100 million to Newark public schools, and critics, the money's almost gone. Critics say it didn't do anything. And it's probably just a drop in the bucket. And one of the things that, one of the criticisms laid at the grounds of that donation and the school reform going on in Newark is a lack of input from the community. The New Yorker said, you can't do this without having the community on board sign up and say, yes, and we want this, and here's what we should do. I think the tech community does care. I think they do. But we also, so this show is about the toy store. I know all week long you do nothing but, think about what's going on in the world around us. This weekend, we can just relax a little bit, talk about the toys, the gadgets, the gizmos. And you know what? We can talk about how to use them to change the world, to make the world a better place. So it's not completely amoral. Hacker victims deserve empathy, says the New York Times. This is a good example. Talk a lot about the Ashley Madison hack and how millions of men's infidelities are being exposed on the internet. And there's a certain amount of mocking for them. But the thing to remember is there, but for the grace of God, go you. I know you're not on Ashley Madison, but we have lots of data out there. And these hacks continue all the time. And they are devastating. They are devastating. This article by Farhad Manju, who writes about technology for the Times, talks about a fellow in Australia that runs a site called Have I Been Pwned? P-W-N-E-D. It lets people look up their email addresses and see if their data has been compromised in one of these online security breaches. And it can be devastating. And I know it's tempting to mock Jennifer Lawrence or people who are caught in the Ashley Madison net, but let's not, shall we? let's have some empathy for him. It is a terrible, terrible thing. Anyway, 8888 Ask Leo. That's just all preamble to what we really do here, which is answer your phone calls. Give me a ring. Let's talk. The website, techguylabs.com. Your calls are next. Oh, you're welcome, Justin. Gosh, that was awesome. Thank you. I mean, that was a moving segment. Anybody who didn't see or hasn't seen the new screensavers yet from yesterday, and I know that's most of you, do watch it. Justin does 3D printing at the Phoenix Children's Hospital, and we interviewed him and a mom whose child was born with half a heart. And in years past, that would have been essentially a death sentence. But she told the story, and it was very moving, about how they did a 3D model of her heart, the kids of Gemma's heart. Justin did this, and it was able to help surgeons understand what was needed to be able to talk to the parents and then to go in and fix it. And Gemma's 2 years old now and doing great. But praise to Justin. Really amazing. I agree. Tech is the foundation to some of humanity's greatest achievements. Science, in my opinion, is humanity's greatest achievement. And technology is applied science. And they're changing everything. So I think it's what was that article? I saw it on Facebook, but saying it was like on Mashable or somebody saying, "Stop paying attention to gadgets, save the world." It's like, you know what? I think this is all part of that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. The wonderful and talented Kim Schaffer is here answering the phones. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Yay.
Yay.
Applause for Kim.
Oh, God.
You brought your own fan section in here today. That's good.
I have a few geeky friends, and when they hear I get to come up here, it's a big
Can
deal.
I go along? I'd like to see
Yeah.
what's going
Can I
on up
tag
there.
along?
That
Can I
sounds
go
like
to
it'd be
work
very
with you
fun.
today?
Yeah. I have some glasses for that we'll put on, and everybody can look really comfortable in there. What can you, do we have a caller?
We have a few.
Oh.
Yeah. Greg in Camarillo has a new website for his business, and he's got a few questions for you about it.
Good. Hi, Greg. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, good. Hey, I just started a new business, and I have a new website.
Congratulations.
How do you What's that?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And I'm just wondering, how do you determine adequate speed for that website? What are people going to stick around for?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there have been studies that show that if your website doesn't load within 5 seconds, people just go, yeah, I guess it's not working. Bye. And that's pretty fast. How long does it take your website to load?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. It seems pretty quick, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me the URL. I know that's why you really wanted to be.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Glutenfreecookies.com.
Say it again.
Glutenfreecookies.com.
Oh, all right. That's bad. I'm going to eat them now. Okay. Glutenfreecookies.com. Now,
.com.
remember that a website, the speed with which a website loads is a result of many different factors. Of course, your viewer is the very first person, that could be a flaw if he or she doesn't have great speed. But also, your server may not have enough power or bandwidth. Remember, anytime you visit a website, you're visiting a computer. A website is sitting on a computer somewhere in a network operations center. It may be on a shared server. The server is the kind of computer that a website sits on because it serves gluten-free cookies to the client, who's the visitor. That's the client-server architecture. So your server that your gluten-free cookie site is on may, in fact, host 1,000 other sites. That's something that's not good. It's called shared server service, but it's not. It's inexpensive. So if you are spending a couple of bucks, $5 a month for web hosting, you're probably on a shared server. And the only thing really bad about that is, if the company puts too many sites on one computer, just like having too many users on a single computer, or one of the sites that's on the computer takes an abnormal amount of bandwidth or an abnormal amount of CPU cycles. Maybe it gets very popular. You don't want to be on the same server that Reddit is on because it would slow you down. So I'm only beginning the compilation of problems. The site itself can be a problem. I'm looking at glutenfreecookies.com. I see a nice big image, and I see them loading. The size of those images could be an issue with the speed of loading. You want to make sure the site is as small as you can make it while still looking good. And since you want to have big cookie pictures on there, of course you do. You're selling cookies. But what you need to do is make sure that those images are compressed. It's a balance well enough. The other thing I immediately noticed on your site is it's using Comic Sans. That will not slow it down, but it may chase people away. Let me reduce the size of the screen and see if you're mobile responsive. You are. Very nice. This is important because, as we talked about last show, the internet, there's no longer a distinction between the mobile internet and the internet. The internet is mobile. Probably, if you look at your logs, at least half of your users come in through smartphones, and smaller screens like tablets. So your site has to look good on all size screens. Yours does, actually. Whoever did your site knew about mobile, what this is called mobile responsive design, and it looks good at any size, which is great. That's very important. That means you have various size images on here, and so you want to make sure you don't load images that are way too big. I'm not sure about the Comic Sans, though. I gotta say, it's friendly. It's friendly, but maybe somebody, I don't know. I would use something a little nicer. Although maybe you're trendy. Did you see have you seen what Google did with its logo? They eliminated the serifs. How does that load on a mobile? Not loading at all. Okay. So it may be, I'm talking to somebody in the room who has a smartphone, and you're going to glutenfreecookies.com? Have we given him enough plugs yet? It's not loading at all, huh? Well, I would say that's too slow. If it's sitting there and you're looking at a white screen, that's too slow. So I'm on a very fast connection, but it may really be that the site itself is not responsive enough. As you get bigger, you might move away from that. First of all, find a good web host. Move away from that shared server. Increasingly, web hosts are not using a shared server architecture. That is, hundreds or 1,000 sites on a single computer. They're doing virtualization, and it balances it much better. It does a better job. So you're on a virtual server. That's not as bad as a shared server. And then as you get bigger still, you want to be on a dedicated server. That means you own the machine. All of our sites are on dedicated servers. In most cases, the Tech Guy Labs and Twit.tv are on multiple servers. They're with a load balancer that spreads the load evenly among multiple servers. As you get bigger and bigger, that's what you want to do. What is the message you're seeing? Stop responding. Oh, you know why? Everybody listening to the show just went to glutenfreecookies.com. So there's another problem. You can be the site that's bringing down the entire shared server. If you're on a shared server, there are 500 other websites that are down too, because everybody who listens to this show just went to that site and brought it to its knees. So there are a lot of things that can slow a site down. Really, getting good hosting is number one. You want to make sure you have a host that is giving you enough resources so that, you can't, truthfully, you don't want to plan for what just happened to you, because that's unusual. So usually you don't build a site for the maximum possible traffic. You build a site that's going to be responsive under the expected load. And occasionally you'll get on a radio show on hundreds of stations, and thousands or tens of thousands of people will visit your site and it'll break. That happens. They're an advertiser. Disclaimer here, but there are companies like Squarespace that do it in such a clever way, virtual servers in such a clever way, that they can handle all this peaky load without you paying for it. They can handle a sudden spike in traffic, but you don't have to pay for that much bandwidth all the time. They respond to the traffic as appropriately. And I've never seen a Squarespace site go down. Little plug for an advertiser, a little free plug for an advertiser, but they are one of the companies that really handles this properly, and they do some very sophisticated stuff. Hey, good luck with glutenfreecookies.com. Now, see, I'm just encouraging more people to call in and plug their site, but that's fun. It's a good-looking site, and I want some cookies. Get rid of the Comic Sans, though. Let's talk about the new Google logo and more when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Yan is on the line from Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, Yan.
Hi, Leo. Nice to talk to you.
Am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Hi,
yes.
Hi, Yan.
Hi. I have a question about home video. I guess I call it home video. When nowadays seems like whenever I go to my son's event, I either use iPod or iPad or a mobile phone, or sometimes use my point-and-shoot camera's video feature to record a little bit here and there. So at the end, if I would like to be able to watch all these videos on TV by sticking a disc in my DVD player, what would be the software I should use to put it all together?
So this is increasingly less common because, well, things are changing. They change so fast. So notice no camcorder involved there. You use a point-and-shoot camera, which takes great video, or even your smartphone now takes great video. In fact, in many cases, better video than you can put on a DVD because we're shooting 4K video now. So increasingly, people are just watching it digitally rather than burning a disc. But if you want to burn a disc as a kind of a keepsake, you can. What you'll need is software on a computer that can take all those different clips, import them all, do you want to make one movie or make a different movie for each clip? You probably want to make one movie of each event, right?
Well, not necessarily. I guess for me, I guess over the years, historically has been, I've been using the Sony's camcorder that records everything on that 1.4 gig little disc.
Yeah.
And then when I have 3 filled up, I use Nero, put them on in one big DVD. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
But nowadays, is Nero still the right one to use?
Well, if it works, it's fine, yeah. I mean, you're going to see almost all video editing programs will have some component of DVD burning.
Okay.
Nero's fine. I recommend a program called Adobe, from Adobe, that's the company, Premiere Elements.
Premiere Elements.
It's about $80. It has both editing and burning built into it. So what you'll do is you'll import all the clips, and you do kind of need an editor to do that because they're all in different formats.
Right.
So you want to import them all into a timeline. You can put, subtitles on it or lower thirds or graphics. You can combine, which is nice, stills and video. You can even have those stills have some motion. They call it the Ken Burns effect, where the still picture. He started this with a Civil War documentary he did. Remember, they had stills. That's all they had, but they would pan the camera along the still and it would give it some life. There's all sorts of things, in other words, that you can do with video editors. Then once you get a movie that you like, of whatever length you like, you then encode it, because to be on a DVD, it has to be in a very specific format. That is a DVD that can be played back not just by a computer, but by your DVD player. So, and you'll need, of course, and I think you have, a DVD burner or a Blu-ray burner. In fact, these days you might want to go to Blu-ray, which is the high-def format.
Okay.
So Adobe Premiere Elements would be my recommendation.
So by doing so, am I actually downgrading the quality of the video then by putting them on DVD versus just leave them in their original digital format?
Yeah, in some cases, yes. So the DVD, as opposed to Blu-ray, so those are two different things. DVD is enhanced quality. It's not HD. It's enhanced. It's 480p. So they're in its very specific format. And it has to be an MPEG-2. The audio has to be encoded in a particular way. I think it's AAC. It all has to be done in a certain way. It has to be laid out in a certain way with certain kinds of file names. And that's because a DVD player, like a standalone DVD player, is a computer, but it's a very dumb computer. And it can't understand a whole variety of formats and understands kind of one thing. So you have to put it in a format that the DVD player will understand. Computers are much more flexible. A computer, you could take all those clips, in most cases just burn it to a data disk of some kind, like a hard drive or a USB key or a DVD, and then stick it in a computer, and the computer just plays each clip individually just fine. It's getting it in a DVD player, which is a dumber device that takes that. They call it transcoding. You have to transcode it and format it. Blu-ray has its own format. Blu-ray is higher quality, of course. It's HD. But you can now, in fact, the new iPhone that's coming out on Wednesday and many Samsung and other devices can shoot in 4K video, higher quality video than you can play back on a Blu-ray player. So in those cases, if you take a high quality 4K video, you won't be able to see it. Of course, you probably don't have a 4K TV either, so this is all moot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll look fine. It'll look as good as it does on the camera.
What would be the alternative?
Well, most of the time, here's the thing. I think physical media is dying. Do you have a DVD? Do you have a Blockbuster in your town anymore?
No.
No, because most.
Redbox.
Oh, you still have the red box. They'll be around for a little bit longer. Netflix DVD by mail business has dropped off dramatically. Because people are streaming video or watching on their computer, they're not bothering to put it on a physical disc anymore. I understand why you want to. If you want to share it with relatives, for instance, a lot of them don't have computers. You want to archive it for future. Truth is, putting it on a DVD isn't guaranteeing and is not future-proofing it, because in 10 years, will we have DVD players? I don't have a VHS player anymore. If somebody gave me in fact, I have a VHS of my daughter in a school play. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to have to find somebody with a VHS player.
You have a good point. I guess I was more thinking, it's a way of backing up things,
Yeah, no, the best way to
memories.
back up is digitally or hard drive, yeah.
Yeah, but in 10 years, what if there's no more DVD players?
Right. We see it happen all the time. I have zip disks. I even have floppy disks I can't look at anymore because none of the computers I have a floppy disk. You notice most of the computers sold today, at least the laptops, don't have DVD players in them anymore.
Right.
It's all going away. So the best way to archive this, I still think you could do everything we just talked about and get Premiere Elements, edit it, burn it to a DVD so you can give it to friends and family and watch it yourself on your big screen TV. But I would also consider archiving it on a disk, on a drive, on a computer disk, because that we will be able to read probably for some time to come.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Yen. Good to talk to you. This is a moving target, isn't it? And it's something that people spend a lot of time thinking about, particularly, believe it or not, librarians. Modern library science is really all about preserving data, archiving data. I just read a comment on Slashdot that somebody posted on Slashdot. I have a lot of pictures. What's the best way to save my pictures? And somebody said, well, probably what you should do is make high-quality prints on acid-free paper, laminate them into a photo book, because in 100 years, at least people still will be able to look at that photo book. I think eyes will be around a lot longer than DVDs and Blu-rays. The technology changes so rapidly that storing it, you'd think, well, and it's true. It's true. I think that the DVD medium itself will probably survive 100 years. But who's going to be able to play it back? Only a very few antiquarians. I have preserved from the year 2000 a DVD player, and I can. It's like I can play wax cylinders. I can play Edison wax cylinders. Look at this. I had a little lamb. It's better to put it on a hard drive. Better yet, archive it into the cloud. Google does a great job for free of archiving all your photos and videos. Google Photos, photos.google.com. They will be preserved, on the Google cloud, presumably, until Google goes out of business, you're golden. And even if they do, one of the things Google's been very good about when they close down a service, is they let you know ahead of time. And they say, here's where you can download all your stuff and put it somewhere else. I put my stuff on Microsoft OneDrive, Google Photos, Flickr, SmugMug. I figure some of them will last. Of course, when I'm gone, nobody's going to want to look at them anyway, are they? It's 100 years from now, is anybody really going to want to see our videos of the school play? Probably not. 8888 Ask Leo, the website techguylabs.com. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. If you're the person in your company responsible for hiring, this is a weighty job, weighty on your shoulders, but also important to the company, right? The people you hire create the corporate culture. The way your company will succeed and prosper in the future is by great hires. And ZipRecruiter makes it so much easier for you. Take a weight off your shoulders. ZipRecruiter.com. You'll be posting on 100-plus job sites. That makes, maximizes your reach. Make sure that the most candidates will see you. That means it's the most likely that you'll get a great candidate or two in that mix. Now, you might say, well, that's just what I want, 1 million emails and phone calls. No, ZipRecruiter handles that too, because they have an interface that all of the applicants go into that makes it very easy for you to screen the applicants, eliminate ones you just know you don't want, rank the applicants, and then hire the right one fast. In fact, one of the great things is as soon as you post to ZipRecruiter, they start combing through over 6 million recent resumes from job hunters, and that within 24 hours you'll start your screen will start filling with great candidates. You post once, watch those candidates roll in. It's been used by over 400,000 businesses. We used it with great results. I won't say who we hired, but it worked. You can try it now for free. Getting the right people for your company is so important. We got an email from Rick, a happy ZipRecruiter client. He said, I had a great experience using ZipRecruiter. It was so fast and easy to input all my information and have it sent out on the web. I had replies from highly qualified individuals within 24 hours. I would highly recommend this service to anyone wanting to expand their business. If you have to do some hiring, take a weight off your shoulders and do it right with ZipRecruiter. You could try it free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/TechGuy. You go there, you show your support for the show, and you'll get 4 days free. ZipRecruiter.com/TechGuy. We're so glad to have ZipRecruiter as a advertiser and supporter of the Tech Guy podcast. They make it possible, my friends, so make sure you go there. ZipRecruiter.com/TechGuy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, on the Big Beat Radio, coast to coast, talking high tech with Dave in Washington, D.C. Hello, Dave. You're next.
Hi, Leo.
Hello, Dave.
Hi there. I was just listening to talking to someone had called in about archiving DVDs, and I just wanted to mention and actually thank you for mentioning to people that they really need to print their photos on an archival material, because one of the big problems we're seeing, I run a photo lab, and all of the local photo labs and camera stores, believe it or not, in the Washington, D.C. area have disappeared. And
Wow.
we're one of the few ones left. And I'm telling you, the biggest problem I'm going to see in maybe 10 or 20 years is just what you mentioned, where people are going to go look for baby pictures and wedding photos,
Yeah.
and they're going to be only on a CD or a phone or a computer that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And if you think, for example, that 20 years ago, the data that you stored was on a floppy disk, it's not like 20 years from now, like you said, it's not like you're going to pop a DVD or a CD in a machine somewhere.
So, Dave, you work at a photo lab.
Right. I actually run a lab in suburban Washington.
Is it automatically, are photos printed on acid-free archival quality paper, or do you have to ask for that?
Well, pretty much. Now, the thing is, there's a big discussion between photo people about what constitutes archival or not. And many years ago, a lot of people don't realize this. Eastman Kodak got into a lot of problems because they found out that their paper was only archival for about 10 or 15 years.
What happens if it's not archival?
The dyes are organic dyes, and they start to deteriorate with exposure to light.
So we've all seen those faded pictures.
Oh, yeah. Those orange things that you probably have from your elementary and junior high school pictures, that's representative.
So is it possible to print these in a way that they're going to retain the color, the vibrancy of the original, or are they going to fade over time no matter what?
Well, yes and no. About 20 years ago, they started paying attention to the archival life of these photo papers. And one of the things that happened is all of the manufacturers were forced to come and improve their materials.
Yeah, good.
Fuji came out with something called Crystal Archive, which is supposed to be archival for about 60 to 80 years under normal viewing conditions.
Now, I don't want to put you out of business, but a lot of people are printing photos at home. I have an Epson printer that says it has archival inks. Can an inkjet printer have archival quality inks?
Yes, and I hedge because you have to be careful of the printer that you're using.
Right.
Because the inks are either dye-based or pigment-based. Now, dye-based inks, they've improved a lot over the years. We ran a test about 10 or 15 years ago on the standard desktop printer inks that you got. And the problem was that if you laid a photo out on a table, and we did it on a shelf in our shop, we left it out for about a year and a half covered with a paper so that it was not exposed to normal light. And there was probably a 50% shift in density of color in 1 year.
That's fading.
So you can imagine.
Is it help if I laminate it in a photo album and then, of course, put the photo album, close it, and put it in the closet and only take it out once in a while? Does that help?
Well, that'll sure help. But one of the problems is that another thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is that the paper you actually print on makes a difference, too.
Yeah.
So
because it can get crispy. It can actually start to deteriorate.
Oh, very quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, the archival life of things like, dye-based inkjet printers and some regular color copiers is probably along the lines of maybe 8 to 10 months before they start to deteriorate.
That's terrible.
It's awful. And the only thing, seriously, the only thing you can do, now, there are some printers like your Epsons that you feature a lot on your show.
Yeah.
some of those do use pigment-based printers. We use one, the large format one, the 9900.
That's
We
what I
use one of
suspected.
those.
Is a lot of photo labs are now using, in effect, what is inkjet technology, right?
Well, several years ago, Noritsu started converting over to inkjet because of, believe it or not, silver issues. Because if you had a photo lab, you had to recover the silver from the photo solutions.
Right.
And it became a little bit of a problem because if you remember, not that long ago, there were 1-hour photo labs every shopping center, on every corner of every street.
Absolutely.
But if you look for them now I was talking to a person who sells photo equipment about 6 months ago, and he told me that in 2000 there were about 25,000 independent photo labs, like 1-hour photo labs and things like that, not counting the great big shops. But there were about 25,000 15 years ago. Last year, that number was down to about 500.
Yeah. Yeah, they're somewhere where all the Blockbuster stores went. They're just kind of they're in the closet somewhere. Hey, we have to run, but I think that's it's a good point. So you're saying pigment-based inks are going to last longer than dye-based inks?
Yeah. Now, here's the only problem with inkjet printers is that a lot of times when you print with inkjet printers, if you don't print on a fairly regular basis, the heads clog up.
Right.
And you start getting these artifacts that look like, banding and
you don't
stripes
want that.
and stuff like that.
I know, yeah.
And then you have to go ahead and clean the heads, and then you have to go ahead and make another print. And the bottom line is if people, let's put it this way, nobody is going to print every photo that they take.
No.
But the cool thing to do is to take the stuff that's really important to you and print it out on real photographic paper.
I agree.
And then keep it in an album. And an album that does not use vinyl pages. And a lot of people don't realize a lot of these inexpensive photo books that they get, these albums, are made with PVC. Well, PVC, when it's heated, like in an attic or in an unair-conditioned house, emits chlorine gas, and the chlorine gas destroys the dyes in the paper.
Can't win, can you? Hey, I have to run. I do appreciate this, Dave. I really thank you for the inside information. My recommendation is, along with yours, it's a good idea to print them and print them properly. I wouldn't rely on any single way of storing them for a lot of reasons. If you have prints and the house burns down, you're going to lose your prints. So I think it's best to take the pictures you care about the most, keep digital copies, not just locally, but on cloud-based servers. Print the pictures you want because that makes it easy to look at them. But no one system, even papyrus, is going to be guaranteed. So it's good to store your stuff in several places in several different ways. That's our 321 backup. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. It's a good topic, isn't it? How do you preserve the stuff that you care the most about? And I think that while we've thought for a long time, a CD is going to last forever, a DVD is going to last forever, and then that could be true. There's no point in arguing it. Because the real issue is, well, who's going to be able to play that back in 100 years? Who's going to have a computer running Windows that can play back DVDs? I like the cloud for that reason. I like digital storage for that reason. 8888 Ask Leo. Take a break for news at the top of the hour. Have lots more to come. You stay right here. Yeah, I thank Dave for doing that. That was great. Fascinating. Yeah.
And it was scary.
Well, I think the bottom line is you care about those pictures a hell of a lot more than your kids or your grandkids or your great-grandkids. But a few of them, it would be nice. Wouldn't you love? I would love to have pictures of my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents. But you don't want all of them. A dozen pictures of each generation would be enough.
You want them to be high quality and you want them to last.
And you want them to last,
so
yeah.
You keep them digital and then you print them out later when the technology improves.
I think you should print them and keep them digital. But you don't need to print them necessarily. If you've got 3 digital copies, that's fine.
And if you're looking at them on an iPad.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I haven't printed pictures in ages. Lisa occasionally will make a book out of a trip or whatever.
Yeah, I've done that.
And it's kind of nice, but I don't ever look at them again. I think your iPad is... I look back through... So one of the great things about having Google Photos is every digital picture I've ever taken is there. And I was just the other day, I go through them all the time. I was looking for a picture. Jennifer's birthday was September 4th, and Abby emailed me saying, do you have any pictures of me as a baby with Mom that I could put on my Facebook page? And I said, I do.
By date.
I do, and I went through the Google photo. It was easy to find them. They're all there. Yeah.
Jeff was visiting, and we didn't really have anything to do. There was something I wanted to show him a photo.
Right.
A long time ago. We just started looking at photos.
And then you don't stop. It's actually fun. It's more fun than the old slideshow.
I felt like bad for Jeff, but he was having a good time.
He seemed to like it, right?
Somebody, hey, come watch my vacation.
I know. I know. No, that's why I love online storage. I just think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and
we converted all the family slides, and I'm so glad we did. So we had slides, but what do you? I don't want slides. I want, and so my sister went to. No, I mean the place that does it was a bunch of Rhode Island School of Design students, and it was a very good place. And they since have gone out of business. So, otherwise I'd recommend it. But they did a really good job. And these are stored on SmugMug. That's where I keep. I probably should consolidate these somehow. Oh, look at that! Who's that? Josh and his birdie.
That's the shirt he's wearing today. He's wearing that shirt today.
It's scary, isn't it? And there's Anna. And there's Lisa in, was that Milk Abbey? I think it was Milk Abbey. But see, this is what's fun about having digital photo album. That's Roger Chang from 2003 on the on the Call for Help set. And there's Father Robert from 2015. And there's some person driving fast in a car. So, but we converted all the slides. Where's the family slides? Oh, I have to be logged in for these to work. So I don't put them in public. So I have family slides from when I was a baby. My sister was a baby, my dad. This is here I am as a young lad. But these were slides, but what's nice is they were scanned and they look, I mean, they're really good. They look as good as digital photographs. There's my sister. So that's fun to have. This is probably 66, 67. That's my dad. There I am. What am I doing? I've got a camera. Look at that. Got an Instamatic camera. I remember that. But fortunately, my parents like to take slides. So we probably had 1,000 slides. And
That's way better than anything I have.
Well, there's a little
of me as a
grain.
kid.
You know, you can see the grain. But doesn't matter. I mean, I think the color reproduction's good. And now they're safe forever, right? Because I have a copy, my sister has a copy, my mom has a copy. I have several copies in several different places. Actually, this is less grainy, isn't it? Look at that. So I guess that was just a particularly grainy shot. I think they used Ektachrome. Yeah, you see how blue that cast is? That's me with my sister and my grandma. We're all having Cokes. Actually, what am I drinking? A Sprite. And there's that Instamatic again. You remember that one? I think that was one that took flash cubes. It was terrible. The image quality was terrible on those. Yeah, 126 probably. Yeah, but even then I like taking pictures of my dad. This is New Hampshire. He built a table in New Hampshire. This is 1968. East Alstead, New Hampshire. This is much later. Look at that hair. That's our little puppy. How old was I? I was 13, I think. 12 or 13. But I had lots of hair. Now my sister Eva has the camera. But Dad had a Brownie or something. Dad had a fairly good camera. Yeah, there's our little beagle. Yeah, this is New Hampshire where we first got her. Now, I'm showing you pictures that you probably care little about, but for the point being, I have these, and the quality's great to have those converted. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, Anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, use Skype. You can reach us toll free if you have Skype out. You can also visit our website for free, techguylabs.com. No sign up. We put every show there, audio and video after the fact, but also all the questions and answers in text. And you can comment. You can add your suggestions. What have you done to preserve your photos? I was just going back through some pictures. My family, when I was a kid, took pictures on slide film. We like to have slideshows. And those have lasted pretty well. The color is pretty good. They were kept in Kodak carousels, so they were kept separate in a closet, no light. At the same time, you know, I really wanted to have those digital. So my sister got them all. There were 1,000 of them. It was a few. I think it was $500. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth it because I have digital copies, and my sister has a copy, my mom has a copy, and I have a copy. And I put mine on a website. It's called SmugMug, which is a paid site for professional photographers, but they keep high-quality copies of that. And I feel like it's safer there than anything. Safer than the slides were, certainly, because that was just one copy. There was no backup. Now there's copies all over the place. So as good as, you know, as sensible as it seems to print, and certainly if you're an author and you're writing a book, you shouldn't rely merely on a floppy disk of your book. You might want to put that novel in the cloud. You might want to print a copy of the novel. It's good to have a variety of copies of it. But I still think that storing it digitally in the cloud is the most likely to last the longest amount of time. Once it's bits, you can easily copy it, move it around, make multiple copies, use multiple services. Google goes out of business, but Microsoft's still in business. I still have it. Yahoo goes out of business, but Google's still in business. I still have them because I put them everywhere. And I think that that's a sensible way to try to preserve your memories, remembering that in all likelihood, in 100 years, no one's going to care anyway. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Paul called. He's from Spring Hill, Florida. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Leo.
How are you today?
I want to talk tablets.
All right.
I bought a Toshiba Thrive over 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still working, but it's so painfully slow. I turn it on, and I got to wait at least 10 minutes before I can use it. The Facebook app is so slow. I got to wait. It keeps coming up. It's not responding. I got to wait. But anyway, I want to buy. I think it's time to invest in a new tablet. And so, what do you think? I've always been told the Samsung tablets have, are the best. But aren't they for a new one?
I would say that really the first choice is, much like on the PC, Windows or Mac, the first choice for a tablet is Android. Actually, you have three choices: Android, iPad, or Windows, because Windows has very much moved into that tablet world.
Right. I want to stick with the Android.
Okay, good. So that simplifies things.
Yeah.
Samsung has just come out. They just announced this week.
Oh, really?
The new Galaxy Tab S2. I think these are excellent. They're priced almost identically to an iPad, so that means they're not cheap. They're about $500 for the Wi-Fi version. But I think that's a reasonable price for a decent tablet. You can, they sell tablets at gas stations and grocery stores now.
Oh, yeah. I don't want any of those.
For $80. Yeah, those are not good.
Right.
The screens are bad. The software's bad. So Samsung is absolutely, I think, the way to go. And what's nice about Samsung is they have a variety of sizes. So some people prefer a smaller 8-inch or even 7-inch tablet. Some people prefer a larger. Samsung goes as big as 12.2 inches, which is quite large.
I mean, I want to keep it at 10. My Toshiba was a 10. I like the 10.
They have 10. The Galaxy Tab S2 is really good. I think they've done a great job with the screens. Of course, Samsung makes the best screens out there. They do a good job with the software. You can get it with LTE built in. In fact, if you want to have always-on internet, you probably should go to your local phone store and get it from me.
That I'm not interested in.
Okay, good. Yeah, that'll save you.
I don't even have a smartphone. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. So the Wi-Fi Galaxy Tab S2, $500. Very much like an iPad. That's with 32 gigs of storage. I like to put more in, but I guess it depends on what you're putting on there. If you're storing photos and music and movies, what do you do with your tablet?
Mostly just, Facebook, a couple of games, online games.
32 or 64 would probably be enough. The nice thing about the Samsung S2, which does not, the iPad cannot do, is you can put an SD card in there. In fact, you can.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
My Thrive, I could put SD card.
Yep.
It had USB ports.
Yep.
HDMI. It had all that. So, I definitely want SD and maybe a USB or something.
Generally, in order to keep these thin, they do not have a USB connector. They have, though, to charge it, a micro USB connector, and I'm pretty sure it is USB to go, which means given the right cabling, you have to buy a special adapter. You can use it as a USB device.
Okay.
This is Android 5, which is the latest version of Android. I see people taking pictures with their tablets. It's okay. It's not great.
Right.
But certainly for things like surfing and email, this is a great tablet. It just came out. I think it's very good. The Galaxy S2, the Tab S2.
Okay.
Yep. Good choice.
All right.
Enjoy. Let me know, actually, after you get it. Let me know how you like it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I appreciate the call. Thank you for listening, Paul. Victor, Anaheim, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Victor.
Howdy, Leo.
Hey, Victor.
Okay, here's my question. Could you explain how the internet is made up of more than one network as far as who owns it, and who are the biggest customers of separate networks separate from the internet?
That is a great question. When you ask people, at least in the early days, what is the internet? What is the internet, Daddy? Daddy would say the internet is a network of networks. Thanks, Daddy. What the? That isn't helpful at all. But it was created, and there's a wonderful book about the history of the internet by Katie Hafner, Hafner, called Where Wizards Stay Up Late. And she talks about the 50s and the 60s at the Department of Defense, a guy named A.J. Licklider. He was working in the Defense Advanced Research Projects Administration, or DARPA. And he said, we got a computer here, we got a computer here, running different operating systems. How do we get them to talk to each other? And began the research that turned into the internet. So really, at its very root, what the internet is a protocol so that computer systems in different places can talk to one another. Those computer systems were originally universities, government research labs. That's who owned those individual computers. The wires that ran between them, the connections, were owned generally by the National Science Foundation. In fact, it wasn't until the 90s that the NSF said, okay, now commercial companies can own the wires between these computers. And in order to make it the internet, there are multiple paths between these computers. So you may be going over wires owned by Sprint, by AT&T, by Level 3, by Cogent. There are many companies that own the backbones, the big cross-country and under-the-ocean wires that connect these networks. And when you send traffic over the internet from your computer to some computer out there on the internet, it automatically routes itself through a variety of machines and wires owned by a variety of companies. It's a miracle. It is one of the most amazing modern inventions of all time. Nobody owns the internet, not even the United States government. It was invented in the U.S. and for a while kind of run by the Department of Commerce, but they've given that up. It is non-governmental, and it's a miracle. And frankly, it's changing our world. That's a great question. I'll talk a little more about the internet when we come back. So here, if you go to internet-map.net, you could see a map of the internet. Let's zoom in, shall we? The big bubbles, of course, are the big companies: YouTube, Facebook, Google, Yahoo. You get a little smaller bubble, that's PayPal. Let's zoom in a little more, shall we? Ooh, Citibank. Little bubbles, tiny little bubbles. And then you could do a site address. So let's go to twit.tv. Find it in the bubbles. There I am. That's us. Let's zoom out. Well, we're a little smaller than logmein.com. for about the same size as towel.com. Whatever that might be. Isn't that fun? That's one of many visualizations. What this doesn't show is the interconnects. It really is just showing you sites on the net by size of bubble. But there are other maps out there. This is internet-map.net. They call it the Internet Map. Let's go back here. This is kind of cool because this is, well, I want to show the original. He mapped the internet by actually sending requests out to every device, every IP address, and then made a map of it. So there's all sorts of, this is kind of interesting, all sorts of information on here. Comcast cable, big, very big. Let's see, there are many results for this internet map search. I've brought my map of the internet so you can see it. I know you'd love to see the internet in all its glory. I think that's what this is. Oh no, this is just the cables that go under the water. Map of the submarine cables. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We should get that framed. 8888, not the song, no. 8888 Ask Leo. I was talking about this giant map of the internet I have here. We were talking about the internet, and I love this subject, and I know it's a little abstruse, but what the heck? Let me just finish up here. So the question really was, well, what is this internet, and who owns it? Dave Barry said, actually, the internet's run by a guy named Jason out of his basement, but no, that's not true. In fact, you can't say really that anybody owns it or runs it or has anything to do with it. There is a group called ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, originally run by the U.S. Department of Congress, but now a non-governmental body. And ICANN is the group that assigns .com, .net. They assign and control the internet addresses. Those things are very important. It was actually for many years, until fairly recently, done by one guy at USC, a guy named John Postel, who passed away a few years ago. But he literally was, the internet was simple enough and small enough that he could, you would call him up and say, I need, John, I need a block of addresses. Can you give me, I want a Class C block of addresses. He said, well, let me, yeah, I got it right here. Here's your address. Can I get .net for, and yes, and he would do all that. One guy. Until relatively recently. I can't remember when he passed that on to ICANN, but it wasn't that long ago. There is, of course, a lot of structure under what we're talking about. There's protocols, there's domain name servers, there's a lot of infrastructure. But essentially, it's kind of like the phone network. It's a bunch of wires connecting individual computers and networks. So here we are at our studios. We have many computers in the studios. You might have several computers at home. That's your internal network. The internet is a network of those networks, connecting them all one to the other so we can talk to anybody who's on this internet. Currently estimated, there are about 4 billion people with access to the internet. The vast majority of them, by the way, on mobile devices, cell phones. It's just remarkable that something like that could be created by, not by a government, but just by kind of consensual hallucination. A bunch of geeks and scientists just saying, yeah, we should have something like that. And it works so well. No one owns it. Individual parts of it can be owned by a company. But because the internet is so flexible, it can route around any given company. So we've had some disputes on the internet lately over what we call interconnects. The interconnects are one company's interface to another company's lines. And companies like Comcast have gone to companies like Netflix and said, hey, if you want to get onto our network, Comcast, of course, has a network. It's the largest network in the U.S. of internet service users. If you want to get on the Comcast network, you need to pay us money. You need to give us some money if you want access to our customers. Now, as a Comcast customer, I'm not thrilled about that because I already pay Comcast a lot of money so that I can see Netflix. I feel like they're getting plenty to provide Netflix with access to me. I don't want them to become a toll road for internet companies to get to me. that would be bad. And fortunately, the FCC last year decided that they actually it was earlier this year, wasn't it? That would be wrong. And this is something we've debated and talked a lot about called net neutrality. The principle that the internet should be open and free to anyone. And that once you pay for access to this information superhighway, you should have access to every node equally. Whether it's Netflix or my radio show, they should all be treated equally by Comcast. I think that's right. And that's kind of what makes the internet, isn't it? That you have free and easy access to every point upon it. It's really remarkable. We all own the internet would be another answer. No one owns it and everyone owns it. It's ours. And it's remarkable. Maybe one of the best inventions humans have ever created. It's right up there. Michael in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Michael.
Oh, how exciting to talk to you, Leo. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All right. I've just about grown up with you. I've been listening that many years.
That's nice. Don't tell me you're 50 though, because I'm going to feel bad.
Leo,
yes.
I'm calling you to put my web address out there. I'm doing a 9/11 dedication to the citizens of 9/11 and all the soldiers we've lost in the last 20 years.
Good for you.
That's great video. Boots, helmet, and his gun.com.
Boots, helmet, and his gun.com.
All
right.
Video goes live at 12:01 Eastern Standard Time, and we're hoping for 1 million views in a day. I mean, I'm working the military. I'm doing everything I can to get everybody to stand united, and we're trying to put the P back in patriotism. I got to say, an interesting thing. I'm working with a 17-year-old on this project. And, you know, you and I grew up saluting the flag, pledging allegiance to the flag every day. Do you realize the effect that this is having on our young people because they're not pledging the flag? They know what the word patriotism means, but they're not exactly feeling any relationship to the red, white, and blue. It's almost shocking. How did we get here?
Well, now, this is a technology show, so I'm not going to go further down this line, but we got a nice plug-in for you. I hope that you can support. I see you're on Wix. I hope you can support 1 million views in one day. Boots. Well, now, unfortunately, I've got a Wix page, so I'm going to Boots, helmet, and hisgun.com. And it is Patriots Day on Friday. We should remember that, 9/11. I'll be in New York on 9/11, so I plan a trip probably the day before to the 9/11 site. But I think I completely agree with you. This is something we need to commemorate. And I thank you for the call and the plug. Christopher in California, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Christopher.
Hi.
Hey, welcome.
How you doing?
I'm good. What can I do for you?
So I'm a streamer on Twitch, and I know it's pretty intensive on your CPU to encode videos and then upload it. I happen to be a gamer at the same time, but my CPU is reaching a bottleneck.
Uh-oh.
So I'm wondering, instead of buying 2 PCs like most streamers, big ones anyways, do, if I could get like a dual CPU setup going, and then maybe partition one CPU for encoding and then the other one for gaming.
So just so people will understand what you're talking about, twitch.tv is a great site where people stream they're called Let's Play videos for the most part, where people play a game, they stream an image of the game and themselves playing the game. You've got a chat room. You can make money at it. Usually the money comes from people in the chat room who donate to you. And it's certainly a lot of fun, and it's become huge. So you need a computer that can play the game well, and encode that video for purposes of streaming on Twitch, but you also want to get your image in there. Is that the issue, that you don't have enough juice to do both?
Yeah, it's more or less the gaming horsepower is hindered because of the bottleneck in the CPU.
Right. Of course, I think, that's a good question. You're saying that most people, we're going to take a break, so I'm going to have to pass this over to the next break, but you're saying most people use 2 machines to do this?
Yes.
Interesting.
One for encoding, one for gaming.
Yeah, that makes sense because you want to have every frame possible in the game. Let's talk about how you could do this conceivably with 1 machine when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Our show today brought to you by Samsung SmartThings. Oh man, the home automation revolution is really taking off, and SmartThings is at the forefront. SmartThings lets you monitor and control and secure your home anywhere using one app, the SmartThings app on your smartphone. We live in a smart world, and it's nice to be able to control those devices. Phones, light bulbs, cups, cameras. They're all smart, but they don't work together, unfortunately. Very often, you've got a different app for every device on your network. The SmartThings Hub, which originally was a Kickstarter project, solves this by speaking their language, all of their languages. And I'm going to show you a little bit of some of the things you can do. They've been very clever about putting together packages that start with the SmartThings Hub and then a few SmartThings sensors, so it's easy to kind of get one thing done. And once you do, expand it beyond. So the hub and maybe a water leak sensor or a camera can be used for security or sensing moisture in your vacation home. It's a really clever way to go. With SmartThings, you can even let your home know you're on the way, so lights are on and the AC's turned up or down. It'll unlock your door when you pull in the driveway. You can program different actions to happen when you're asleep, you're awake, you're at home, or away. And it's all controlled completely from your smartphone, iOS or Android. There are no contracts, no monthly fees, no messy installation. We've been using it for a long time in the house, and it's really fun. It's the easiest way to protect your home, too, for security. You could set up a SmartThings security camera, many SmartThings security cameras, have it turn on the lights, make dogs barking on your Sonos, whatever you want to do. Right now, SmartThings is offering you 10% off any featured SmartThings kit and free shipping in the U.S. Go to smartthings.com/TTG for the tech guy. smartthings.com/TTG. And that's the offer code, too, TTG, if you want to buy and save 10% plus free shipping in the U.S. Turn your home into a smart home. This is the new SmartThings Hub, by the way. Really awesome. Really awesome. smartthings.com/TTG. There's the Energy Saver Kit. Cool. Nice stuff. smartthings.com/TTG. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. We were talking, interesting question. Christopher, he streams games, his gameplay, on twitch.tv. What game do you play, Christopher?
Counter-Strike.
Nice. Fun. And you have a fairly active chat room and people participating with you as you play?
Oh, yes.
That's what makes twitch.tv great, I think, is the interaction, the interactivity you get with the chat room. But it is challenging because you're doing a lot of work. You're not only playing the game, that's not a trivial thing by any means. You're also trying to record video, encode the video and the game, send a stream down. When they use two computers, how do they get a single stream? I don't understand how that works.
So, yeah, they'll take an HDMI from the main PC, route it to the secondary PC.
I see.
And then, of course, that one uploads everything together.
I get it.
And it gets even more complicated when it comes to audio and everything.
Yeah, I think two PCs is probably not ideal. Getting a more powerful PC would be. We did used to, in the old days, you'd have dual-core PCs. You'd have two sockets for, in fact, I've seen 4 and even more sockets on a motherboard so you could have multiple processors. But that's actually not the ideal way to do it. And most computers now have multi-core processors. Intel makes processors with the Core 2, dual core, quad core, even 8-core, 8-way processors. And with hyperthreading, that can mean 16 different threads. So I don't think getting a multi-core computer is necessary. Just get a more powerful processor, a Xeon, for instance, with 8 cores. Because what will happen is the computer and the operating system will automatically divvy stuff up, so you don't have to do that. Secondarily, it may be that the GPU is the most important thing, and you do see multi-GPU computers now. In fact, that's been around for some time in gaming with SLI and so forth. So the idea that you have do you have dual GPUs in your computer?
No, I have one. It's the second highest one. It supports the games really well.
Yeah.
It's just two at the same time.
I don't know exactly what software you're using. I presume.
OBS.
Say again?
OBS.
Okay.
Open broadcasting software.
Yeah, that's what everybody uses, isn't it? Is OBS smart enough to use the GPU for encoding? Most modern encoding programs that are crunching video for streaming will use the GPU, not the CPU, to do that.
See, I think that was for... I'm not really sure what it was. I think it was for stabilization or something like that.
Yeah, I would look at, and it may mean a new motherboard because you have to have one that supports SLI. But it may be dual GPUs is a good way to go. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not the expert on this. You've got the experts right there on Twitch. I would look at what people are doing to get the best performance. I bet you there's a lot of information on twitch.tv streaming and probably sample configurations as well. So I'm not an expert on this, but these are all issues that I think using more GPU power instead of more CPU power may be the best way to do this. But you'd have to check whether OBS can use a GPU for encoding. Encoding is so much faster with a graphics processor. It's designed for that kind of bulk computation. The CPU is primarily used in gaming for calculating where you are, where your opponent is, and where your projectiles are going. Then the GPU actually draws it, and a dual GPU system will certainly have the capability to not only draw it, but also encode the video after the fact. I think that's probably the best way to go. But again, I'm not an expert, and the good news is I'm sure there are lots of sites talking about the best setups for twitch.tv. If anybody in the chat room has a suggestion, we'll put it in the show notes, techguylabs.com. Elizabeth in Santa Clarita, California. Hi, Elizabeth.
How you doing, Leo?
I am well. How are you?
I'm ecstatic to talk to you. I never thought I would get through. I love you like you have no idea.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm too old for you, sir, but anyway.
At my age, no one's too old for me.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'll take my vitamin E or something.
What can I do for you?
Okay, I am a disabled senior, and it was never on the internet, and always wanted to be. And I have a nephew that I had worshipped to the skies until this summer when he came to visit.
Uh-oh.
And
what did he do?
Well, what he did was I heard the drawer of my file cabinet closing. He said he was going to the bathroom. I heard the file drawer of my file cabinet closing. I walk in the room. He's closing the drawer and frantically stuffing something into his pocket.
The case of the nosy nephew on the next.
Oh, yes, but also
Perry
ACs.
Mason.
Yes, and he also had my computer up and running without my knowledge and consent.
Right.
And obviously his whole point was so that he would have complete access to my computer. How do I erase his access and his passwords?
He may have merely been using it to, surf the net, check his email.
No, that's not him.
That's not him, huh?
That's not him.
So
no,
this guy,
he's up to something.
You have reason to believe that he's up to something.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm sorry to tell you this. He works for the state.
Does he work for the CIA?
I don't know how far.
Is he a hacker?
I don't know how far up the state, but he keeps talking about getting a new job with this new supervisor, and he hasn't met this new supervisor yet. He's been talking about this new supervisor for months.
Okay, whatever you do, don't ever watch the USA Network show Mr. Robot, because you will get so paranoid. It's about hackers, and it's what's interesting is how accurate it is, and it's terrifying because it essentially will give you the feeling that there's no hope. None at all, that none of us have a chance against these wily hackers. Is your nephew, do you think your nephew has mad computer skills?
Yes, he does.
Oh, boy.
I mean, he does. He's way up there. With
and what is he looking for? But what does he have, Elizabeth? What do you have that he wants?
God only knows.
Okay.
I don't have enough vitamin E, and in this family.
Yeah. I mean, do you think he wants to, for instance, steal your credit card number, something like that?
Well, I don't have any credit, so that's not it.
Yeah.
He just wants to make use of my computer and possibly frame me for something. I don't know what these
Good Lord.
do. Well, he didn't talk to me for 10 years, and neither did the rest of my family.
Oh, they're out to get you.
No, these relatives are coming to visit and calling.
All of a sudden, do you have a big inheritance?
My computer.
Do you have a big inheritance, Elizabeth?
I don't know, but we shall find out. If I ever get on the computer and learn to use it myself, maybe I can find this out.
I think it's
just for revenge.
I think it's
for revenge.
It's not much he can do with your computer. Let's be honest with you. If you use it to buy things online, then he might Perhaps you've stored a credit card number. Maybe you have a document on there with information about bank accounts.
But I've never put anything on the computer.
Then there's nothing on there that you have to worry about.
But he put his passwords on so he can get in.
Yeah, but he can't get.
I don't want that.
So the best thing to do if you're worried, once somebody has, by the way, it's legitimate to worry once somebody has physical access to your computer, because at that point, depending on their mad skills, the sky's the limit. They could do all sorts of bad things to you if they're motivated and they're smart enough. Generally, it would be sufficient for you, I think, Elizabeth, to reformat, reinstall the computer. You haven't used it, so there's nothing on there that you need to preserve. Most computers come with a disk for formatting and reinstalling Windows. That's what I would suggest. That will take any modifications he's made off and give you sole access to it. There are things like, they call them RATs, a remote access Trojan. It's possible to put on somebody's computer if you have physical access to it, or you can convince them to run a program on your behalf remotely that would let them have access to the camera, the microphone, the keyboard. You don't want that, but wiping the drive, reformatting, and reinstalling Windows, get some local kid to do it, would be fine. If he is really sophisticated and skilled, there are things he can do, like putting a keystroke logger in between your keyboard and the computer, a little dongle, that would be you couldn't wipe out with software. It'd be very hard to detect. Just like a phone tap. If he has time and the inclination, there's a lot he can do. I don't think you have to worry about that. Just reformat the PC. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about, Elizabeth, frankly. It's very unlikely that your nephew is, I mean, what do you have that he would want? I mean, what is he going to be able to do? But there is that legitimate concern for all of us. If somebody has physical access to your computer, they can make modifications to it. But I think it's unlikely. If you're worried, get an iPad and keep it by your side. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Just thinking about poor Elizabeth's predicament. One of the problems, of course, is that we have computers that are way over complicated, way more than we need. For instance, I doubt Elizabeth needs a full Windows PC. I think most people would be better served by a Chromebook or an iPad, something that's much simpler and, frankly, much more secure. Had she called and said, my nephew got into my Chromebook, it'd be easy. You just say, well, there's a power wash in the settings. Just hit that key and it'll restore the Chromebook to its original state. Boom, just like that. Late model Windows PCs will do that. There's a recovery control panel that lets you completely wipe and restore your Windows. If you have a late model Windows PC, Elizabeth, that would be a good way to do this. If you have disks, that works too. But nowadays, most computer manufacturers don't send you disks. Fortunately, Windows 8, Windows 10 both have recovery systems that allow you to wipe the drive and start fresh. In most cases, that's sufficient. An iPad would be even better. There's not anything he could do to you on an iPad. All he could do is snoop around. And it's more, I think it's easier to use for most people. My mom loves her iPad. It's pretty much all she uses all the time. And she has a desktop and a laptop Mac. You know, these government employees, though, you got to watch them like a hawk. Story on CNN today. Ex-Labor Department employee admits he'd been running a bootleg movie operation inside the Washington, D.C. headquarters of the U.S. Department of Labor. He'd been working there for 30 years. According to court documents, he used a 5-bay DVD burner at work to copy and sell pirated movies. He's been doing it since 2008. He ran the pirating operation during work hours, emailing colleagues at the Department of Labor saying, we want to buy a DVD, $4 or $5. He made, in 2013, according to court documents, he made $19,000 from this pirating scheme, selling 1,268 different DVDs to his colleagues. He pled guilty, and he's going to get, what do you think? So think about Jamie Thompson, who was the Chicago mother, a single mom who got busted by the record industry for having, I think, 4 or 5 songs on her computer that were being shared by LimeWire or something like that. She got a $250,000 fine, which she's been fighting ever since. So many people, huge fines for piracy. What do you think he got? Oh, 2 years probation. That's it. That's all. He kept a ledger of his sales. That was kind of the giveaway, including customer names. 2 years probation, no prison time, no fine. Just, don't do it again. We'll be watching you. 8888 Ask Leo, I tell you. Joan's on the line from Garden Grove, California. Hey, Joan.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Oh, real good, thanks. I have a problem here. I'm trying to do a hyperlink on a Word document. And it's a hyperlink for to go to PayPal. And when I put in the address just directly into the address bar at the top, it goes to where I want it to go.
Yeah.
But then when the same thing is in the hyperlink, it goes to a page that says, sorry, your last action could not be completed.
Ah. So you're in Word, and are you just typing the URL in Word? Because that's all you need to do normally in Word is when you type something that's http:// it just turns it into a hyperlink.
Well, I just I went into PayPal and then I copied their link and I pasted it into the hyperlink on Word.
Huh.
And it's like, then when I look up at the address bar, it has like 50 million numbers after it.
Yeah, so don't use that pasted in hyperlink, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And where are you trying to go? To your particular PayPal account, or what is it that you...
Yes, for the PTA.
Yeah, you're saying send me a contribution at this PayPal account.
Right.
So the first thing you probably should know is the best way to ask people for money on PayPal is to just give them your email address. Say, you may PayPal me a contribution at leo@leoville.com. And then they have a PayPal account. They go there and they can send you money. That would be the first thing I would do. PayPal has also introduced a way to do money-to-money transfers over mobile. You can create a PayPal link for your name. You could put that also. But type it in. Don't do a copy and paste.
Okay.
Because the copy and paste is giving you a lot of extra stuff that's actually not necessary. You'll see when you type in http://paypal.com/my-name, that looks fine in the Word document. You click it works. And then you'll see in the browser a much longer, with lots of numbers, URL. Don't give them that number. Give them that. Don't give them that link. To type in the link that works. Which is probably, is it your account you want to send them to? What is it that you want to send them to?
Yeah, I want to send them to the PTA account.
Yeah. I would investigate this great new thing, because this will make it much easier for them to send you money. PayPal has this great mobile money transfer thing, and you get a special address, so you could get, PayPal.com/Montclair PTA, something like that. But in any event, to solve your particular problem, don't cut and paste from the address bar. Type it in.
Okay, so I'm not really being hijacked, right?
No. It's just that and this happens all the time. In fact, the guy who invented the World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee, said, we never thought any human would see these addresses. This was all for the purposes of the machine. But as it turned, that's why it was http://. That's not a human usable thing. That's a machine thing. But it turns out that as the web evolved, people did see it and shared those and typed them in and so forth. So websites, when you type in a URL, it's not at all uncommon that it actually goes through some stuff. And then if you look in the address bar in your browser, it's a very long, more elaborate URL. Don't use that one in your Word document. Use the one that you know. You do know the address that you want to type in?
Well, I know Well, yeah, I know the address because it's in the. They give you the email hyperlink.
Yeah, but don't use the long one. It'll be something like https://paypal.com/MontclairPTA, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, use that one. Type that one in by hand into your Word document. That'll work. They'll be able to click that link. If they look at the address bar, they'll get a long link. That's why some browsers, like Safari on the Macintosh, they obfuscate the link. They actually they don't show you the whole thing because they realize that that's a little worrying when you see 04439 equals 4744244. You go, what's going on? That's for their use. That's for machines, not for humans.
Okay.
Okay. So
right,
don't.
great.
Yeah, just type in the one that you know, the shorter one.
Okay.
Good. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Yeah, PayPal has added a new mobile-to-mobile thing. You get a special address. I haven't tried it, but I hear it's pretty cool. So, and yeah, now they're saying, and don't email a Word document. That's kind of true too. But that's a story for another day. Email should be just plain text for safety reasons. You don't. If you sent me a DOC file, I wouldn't open it because DOC files can harbor malware. And so for years now, I've coached people on this show, do not open email attachments. So don't be sending out a Word document as an attachment. Better to type it into an email program and do it in plain text. I know people want to have graphics and fancy things and links, but it's just dangerous. I mean, I trust you. I know who you are, Joan. But the problem is that the people you're sending this email to may get a fake email from the Montclair PTA that says, send us money because we are very good at having cake sale. So please, if you wish cake, send money now. And it's not you. And so that would be bad. Send money. Please go to 7-Eleven and get money pack. Then send to me for the PTA. If you wish to buy a swimming pool. 8888 Ask Leo, TechGuyLabs.com. That's a good place to go to find out more about the things we talk about. Put links there and after the fact audio and video from the show. Another hour to go. More of your calls to come right after this. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You can trust me. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your old gadgets. Actually, don't lend them to me. Sell them on Gazelle, GAZELLE.com. You know, we got a new iPhone coming out Wednesday. I think you probably heard that. You're probably thinking, I might want that. But you don't know for sure, right? Well, here's what I can guarantee you that is absolutely for sure. Your current iPhone is not going to be more valuable on Wednesday. What's going to happen to the value of your current iPhone? It's going to go down every day from now to the end of eternity, to the point. So the time is now, right now, to get a quote on your old iPhone. The nice thing about Gazelle.com is they'll give you a quote guaranteed for 30 days. You'll lock it in for 30 days with no obligation. You have 30 days at that price to send them your iPhone. If on Wednesday you decide, I don't want the new iPhone, no problem, no harm, no foul. But you did get the top dollar you can get right now at Gazelle.com. And it's free to get an online offer. You just find your gadget. You answer a few easy questions. You'll get a price quote. They even pay cash for broken phones. Once you accept the online offer, they'll honor it for 30 days. Shipping is free. They send you a box for most items. Anything worth more than $1, they pay the shipping. If you forget to or can't because it's broken, wipe the device. They will do that for you. All your personal information will be removed. Payments are fast, too. You'll get a check in the mail or a direct deposit to your PayPal account. Or if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, get the Amazon gift card because they bumped that value up 5%. Gazelle's paid out more than $200 million to over 1 million happy customers, including me. We sell stuff to Gazelle all the time. And now Gazelle also sells. So you can buy certified pre-owned devices, iPhones, cell phones, iPads. All of them have been put through Gazelle's very rigorous 30-point inspections. The screens are, defect-free. Everything works exactly as expected. They have a variety of quality levels, like new, slightly used, so you can choose based on the price you want to pay. It's a great place to go for replacement stuff for your kids or for you. It really is a great solution to buy or sell. Gazelle, Gazelle.com. Gazelle.com. We know there's new phones coming. Not just new iPhones, lots of new phones coming. Now's the time to get the best price on your old device, including, by the way, Microsoft Surface tablets, Samsung tablets, Google tablets, MacBooks, Macs, Blackberries, HTCs, LGs, a variety of stuff. But you got to go to Gazelle and get a quote. Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet, home theater, digital photography, all that jazz. 8888. Ask Leo. Certainly smartphones, smartwatches. Big conference this week in Berlin called IFA, where a lot of smartphones are announced, tablets, computers, a lot of new Windows PCs coming out. Intel announced their newest processor, the Skylake. We haven't seen any of these to test them yet, but it looks like it won't be a significant improvement. You know, we've seen in the past with new Intel processors, like the Haswell, that was a big improvement. Then Broadwell, that's a little bit smaller improvement. And typically, this Skylake would be the next big improvement. But so far, from what I've heard of enthusiast sites and so forth, not so impressive. Doesn't mean we won't see new computers based on Skylake. And, of course, new Macintosh laptops likely, and Macintosh computers probably early next year. I don't think Apple will announce them on Wednesday. What they will announce on Wednesday, they're having an event at the largest place I can ever remember an Apple event. It's the San Francisco Bill Graham Civic Auditorium. The Civic Auditorium holds 7,000 people. 7,000 people, that's big. You know, that means pretty much everybody got invited except me. That's okay, you know. Probably they got to, 6,999, and they said, now, let's see, should we invite that guy from the radio station in Riverside, or should we invite the tech guy? Let's get the guy from the Riverside station. It's okay. I'm not hurt. I'm actually not. I'm not going to be around. But 7,000 seats makes one wonder, well, what is going on? In fact, I don't think they're going to fill it with 7,000 journalists. I think it's more likely that they're going to use that space for a big demo area, which makes one wonder, what is it that they're going to show? I mean, phones don't need much space. We know they'll announce new iPhones, that's for sure. The invitation said, hey, Siri, give me a hint. And if you ask Siri, she won't say anything except September 9th. That's the day. The rumor is strong that there'll be new Apple TVs. Apple's had these for a while. They were hoping to make a deal with networks, television networks, so that they could offer some sort of over-the-top, internet-based, cord-cutting TV solution. The networks want a lot of money for that. Say, we're doing quite well using cable. Why should we go with you, Apple? And Apple apparently just couldn't give them enough money to make it worthwhile, so they haven't been able to make that deal. But the Apple TV is a little long in the tooth. It's about time to update that. And apparently one of the things that we'll have is a remote control you can talk to. Well, I mean, you don't want to just randomly talk to it. You'll say things like, hey, I'd like to see The Breakfast Club, and it will then find that for you and show you how to play it. That's something that's been around. I mean, it's not brand new. I can do it on a number of Android TV devices. Amazon's Fire TV does it quite well. It's kind of very handy. So it's good. Thank you, Apple. That's a good idea. Update the Apple TV. Still doesn't really take a giant auditorium to do that. I kept trying to think of what, maybe cars? They've had car shows in there. There's enough room to bring in some vehicles and show off an Apple car, maybe? No, that's not possible. Because we've heard that they're working on an electric car, a self-driving electric car, but that would be too early to announce that. Apple ping pong tables? I don't know. I can't think of what could. Anyway, we'll find out Wednesday. Big Apple event. At IFA, Samsung announced new phones. Motorola's shipping its new Moto X, a phone I liked a lot 2 years ago. A little bit less last year. The 2014 version wasn't great. I think the 2015 will be. You know, one thing that's happening now, as Apple is improving its camera, it was 8 megapixels. The new iPhones reportedly will have 12 megapixels. The new Moto X has 21 megapixels. the Galaxy Note 5, which I currently is my current favorite phone, 16 megapixels. One advantage of all those extra megapixels is kind of, I hadn't really thought about it. You know, normally you'd want more megapixels so you could blow the picture up to a billboard size. I don't think you're going to do that with your smartphone. But it does allow you to do zooming. So if you have a higher resolution sensor, more pixels in the sensor, you can zoom in without degrading the image as much. We saw that with the Nokia Lumia 1020, 41 megapixel camera phone from a couple of years back, 3 years back. And that was the big selling point of it. It wasn't that you would use all 41 megapixels, but that even if you zoomed in, you know, 2 times, that would give you still 20.5 megapixels. Zoom in 4 times, you still get 10 megapixels. You get plenty of resolution so you can zoom digitally. That's interesting, because that's the one thing, isn't it, that a camera phone doesn't do well. Nowadays, iPhones, the Galaxy Note, the Galaxy S6, the LG G4, these are really good cameras. They take great pictures, but you can't zoom. Or if you do, the image quality just degrades right away. So these newer cameras, a 21 megapixel camera, that might give you pretty good zoom capabilities. We were talking at the beginning of the show about archiving your photos. I think one of the reasons camera phones are so compelling is they're automatically archived. If you have an Android or an iPhone and take a picture on it, if you've turned on the automatic backup, they're already getting backed up to Google Photos or Apple's iCloud. You can download OneDrive from Microsoft on either platform, upload there as well. Flickr gives you a terabyte. Amazon gives you unlimited photo storage if you're a Prime member on both platforms. That means you can have 1 or 2 of those applications on your phone, and as soon as you take a picture, it's backed up to 2 different places. That's awesome. They'll be they'll be safe really forever, even if you lose the phone. So I understand why really the camera in a phone is often, for many of us, the most important feature. Fingerprint reading, I think, pretty important, especially since we now can use phones and watches too to pay at the cash register for many stores. That's nice. You know, tap to pay. So I think fingerprint reading gives you a little bit extra sense of security there. I like the better screens newer phones are having. I don't think the iPhone screen will be much changed. There is a rumor, though, they're going to add 3-level force touch. This I'm nervous about. You know, on a iPhone currently, you tap it, you touch it. There's one way to touch it. That's with your finger. You touch it. That's it. On the Apple Watch, though, if you touch it, it does one thing. You touch and press. It's called force touch. It does another thing. The rumor is that Apple's new iPhones will have 3 levels. You can tap it. You could press kind of hard. You could press really hard. The problem is you don't know what's going to happen when you do all those things because everything does something different. It's hard to know, am I pressing extra hard or a little bit hard? How hard am I pressing? Which level of force touch am I getting? I'm not convinced on this one. We'll see. Hey, I like it that they're trying stuff. You know, they should try stuff. Anyway, the truth is, even if you want an iPhone, you shouldn't buy it now because in a week, probably you'll be able to order a new iPhone by September 11th, get it September 18th. Even if you don't want the new iPhone, that means the old iPhones will go down in cost. You'll be able to get them less expensively. So if it's time for a new phone for you, this is a good time to wait. Wait and see what Apple does. Wait until the new phones from Motorola and Samsung and other companies. Google's expected to announce 2 new phones at the end of the month, September 29th. Wait and see those releases and then decide. And it doesn't mean you're going to get the new ones, but at least see what's in them, and you might see a drop in price in the old one. 8888 Ask Leo. I was going to talk about that new Google logo. What do you think of that? Have you seen it? Sans serif. It looks like a kid did it. It's kind of childlike. Some people are saying that that's because Google wants to be a little less threatening.
See, we're just kids. We're just kids. We're doing the search thing. Nothing to worry about here. We're nice. We're not evil.
Does it work? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I always think this song is called Teenage Wasteland, but it's not, is it? Is this Baba O'Reilly? Is that what they call this? Won't Get Fooled Again. That's right. The Who. Who? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. I listened to a little too much of that hard rock when I was a young person. Protect your ears. I used to like to sit, I'm 58. I used to like to sit in the 70s right next to the speakers. And in those days, I think musicians didn't really think about it, but they would turn it to 11. And I remember, of course, going to many concerts and coming out kind of deafened. My ears ringing. You don't do that, do you? You listen a lot of music. You wouldn't do that. You're a young person. You need to protect your hearing.
The problem is I wear headphones all day, every day.
That's
so
not good
I feel
for it
like
either.
I'm going to be deaf. But when I go to concerts, I take
Earplugs. Good. Yeah. I think my kids do that too. I think kids are learning. We've paid a lot more attention to it since I was a kid. But yeah, I've spent a lifetime wearing headphones, and the headphones are a vicious circle too, because you turn them up a little, and then you turn them up a little more, and then your hearing goes, and then you turn them up a little more. Anyway, I say all this because I got hearing aids this week. It's not that my hearing's that bad. I can hear pretty well. I'm not wearing them now. But I wanted to kind of be proactive. I didn't want to be that guy, and you all know him, that can't hear worth a darn, but refuses to get them. No, but the other reason I got them is because I feel like this is a wearable category that's about to take off. Wristwatches, glasses, they've been somewhat of a disappointment. But think about it. The hearing aid, and by the way, the ones I got, they're made by a company called Starkey. They're behind your ear. And by the way, very sophisticated. Digital signal processing like crazy. And then there's a little thing that comes off and goes in your ear. So your ear is not blocked. You can hardly see them. But it's a little amplification that goes in your ear there. And then they tune that for your hearing loss so that you get to hear kind of normally, at least in the mid-range where voices are. Because that's the real problem, right, is you don't understand what anybody's saying. You're watching TV and you go, what? Turn it up. But I feel like once you've got something in your ear, and I've talked to a lot of people who agree, that thing can measure your heart rate, your temperature, your oxygen level and your blood oxygen level, and other things very well, very easily, continuously. You can talk to it because, of course, they have microphones. You can listen to it because, of course, it's in your ear. I feel like that may be the one at least wearable that I'd be very interested in. Hearables, they're calling them. Nobody's really doing it yet, but there's a lot of research being done. So I just wanted to be first in line. Try it out. Plus, I don't want to be the guy that goes, what? Hello? 8888 Ask Leo. Brandon, our next caller. Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
Hey.
Leo?
How are you?
What an honor. Long-time listener. Everything I know about tech, which isn't much, I've learned from you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So I want to be able to send my customers unique links that get them paid every time someone uses the link to make the purchase.
Okay. You want to send your customers a link, and they click that link, and what happens?
The person that referred gets paid, like a percentage.
Yeah.
I'm getting all these solicitations to promote my site and my Kickstarter, and none of them seem trustworthy, but I figured if I could get these links into the hands of customers that I trust,
So I think that this new PayPal feature might be something that would work well for you. I know some people don't like PayPal. PayPal has in the past sometimes frozen accounts for flimsy reasons, made it hard for people to get the money that they're owed and so forth. There have also been security issues with PayPal. But I do also think they're the king of the hill on this.
Okay.
And they do have this new feature that allows you to have a URL. It's a paypal.com/your name that you can give people, and they can use it to pay you directly.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking for?
Well, I'd like whoever's referring the link to get some benefit from spreading the word. So the link is unique to that customer. He posted on his Facebook, or she posted on her Twitter.
Okay.
And she
so what you're okay? Now I'm sorry, I misunderstood. You want to do what Amazon does? You want an associate's fee?
Yes. I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah. So Amazon pioneered this, and it's great. You get a custom link that's associated with your account. When you hand out that link to people, the Amazon payment, of course, goes through, and Amazon rebates you a percentage. Authors love this. When I was writing books, you might get 5% of half of the cover price of the book as a royalty. Amazon would give you 15% of the cover price, the total cover price, as an associate's fee. So many authors, if you want to do an author a favor, go to their website, buy the book. You'll still be buying it from Amazon, but you'll buy the book from the author's website. They get more money than they do for royalties. So it's a great solution. Now, other companies have created affiliate systems. That's the other way of describing affiliates or associates. They've created other affiliate accounts. There's ClickSure, and so I'd probably start with them, clicksure.com. You can then create affiliate links. It's an affiliate system that would allow you to give out links that they would get money when people buy your book or record. That's kind of what you want, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
ClickSure is one. I think there are others. In fact, what we'll do is we'll find a number of them and put them in the show notes at techguylabs.com. But this is a great solution. Amazon, I'm pretty sure Amazon was the first to do it. People do it on Pinterest all the time. If you have a Pinterest site, you will use a special link to your stuff so that you make a little money when that stuff gets sold. It's a really works for everybody. The retailer sells more product because the links are spread out. In effect, you get advertising from individuals. If we use that. A lot of podcast networks use that. We'll put a special link and say, if you want to support my podcast network, click this link before you buy something on Amazon. Go to Amazon through this link, and then whatever you buy in that session, I get 5%. Usually, it's around 5% of the purchase price. That is a great way to make money. Great way to make money. And there are companies besides Amazon that do this. ClickSure is one of them, but if there are others that you know of, or if you've used them, let me know in the chat room or give us a ring. 8888 Ask Leo. Creating an affiliate account. It's Barnes & Noble started doing it. I think everybody's basically doing it now, but Amazon was very clever. Amazon, you got to admire this company. So many companies started in the same time frame are gone, or a shadow of themselves like AOL. Amazon's gotten bigger and bigger. They've survived a couple of .com busts with very innovative thinking, like Amazon Prime, and Amazon affiliates, and all of that. It's an interesting company to watch. Very well run. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Here's a Wikipedia page. November '94. The concept of affiliate marketing on the internet was put into practice by and patented by William Tobin, the founder of PC Flowers and Gifts, launched on the Prodigy Network in 1989. Basically, it's a commission on sales, isn't it? Wow. They had, in 1995, they have 2,600 affiliate marketing partners. Cyber Erotica. CD Now in 94. So this is, I gave Amazon more credit than I should have. They launched their associate program, which is affiliate link program, in 96. So Amazon's been doing it almost as long as everybody, but they were not the pioneer, although they did get a patent in February 2000 on components of an affiliate program. Interesting. So the patent is a little bit in play. So what I liked is a list of people who do affiliate programs. This is a good article, though. We should put this in the show notes. Because this gives a lot of explanation about it. Quite a bit of pros and cons as well on this. So I already got my hearing aids. They're from Starkey. They're Halos. The cool thing about them is they work with the iPhone or Android. A friend of mine had them and showed me, and I was really impressed. And when I went to an audiologist to get my new in-ear headphones, So you got to get molds for those. And I said, well, as long as I'm in there, could I get a hearing test? That's kind of like saying, as long as I'm here, can I give you $5,000? So they gave me a hearing test, and in my right ear, which I had noticed, is really declining fast. I don't know why, but this year, I don't know why it should be going bad fast, but it is. And then, so he said, you don't have to have hearing aids. Can you hear? I said, yeah, I can hear. But a lot of times, Lisa will complain that I said yes to something that I didn't hear. So I'm thinking it's starting. I don't want to be that guy. So I said, yeah. And I want to kind of enter into this area of hearables. They are very expensive, the Starkeys. They're $6,500, I think. But you get a free replacement once every 3 years. And so a couple of things I've learned about them. One is I was hoping they would reproduce the entire frequency range. They go 20 hertz to 20,000. They don't. They really amplify the voice range, the mid-range. Because after all, that's really what they're not there to give you your hearing back as your youthful hearing, but to make it easier to hear people talking to you. So they really focus on that. And they're so small, they're not really high-fidelity devices anyway. So all they can really do is that mid-range. It takes some getting used to, too. All of a sudden, I heard your clothes rustling and all these high-end sounds that I haven't heard for years. We'll put a link in the show notes. Thank you, PAC-NW, in our chat room. The top 20 affiliate programs for 2015 from mthink.com. There are a lot of them, and I looked it up on Wikipedia. We'll put a link to the Wikipedia article on affiliate programs. But I gave credit to the wrong company. Amazon did start its associates program, its version of its affiliate marketing program, in 1996. But the first online affiliate marketing program was on Prodigy, PC Flowers and Gifts. And they actually created a patent for affiliate marketing online. So the first e-commerce site to offer affiliate fees, a small percentage, for promoting sales. Kind of like a sales commission in a way, isn't it? The first company to do that was PC Flowers and Gifts on Prodigy, of all places, in '94. So there, a couple of years before Amazon started doing it. 8888 Ask Leo. Gina's on the line from Venice, California. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome.
First of all, is it okay if I talk to you on speakerphone?
Yeah, that's fine. I can hear you fine.
Okay. Because first of all, my mantra around the house is if Leo uses it, it's okay by me.
Good. I like that. Although like anybody, I make mistakes, buy the wrong thing. I'm not regret-free when it comes to technology.
So far, we've trusted all the things you recommended.
Thank you.
Nonetheless, I am on Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
I use a 4-digit PIN code to access Windows.
Good.
And I have been getting error messages in Chrome that says you can't access this site because you're not the administrator, and it would show my work email, and it just pissed me off enough. Could I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You already did.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Oh, dear.
You really were ticked.
It irritated me enough that I went into my user account, and I know I deleted me. So now So
the Windows, let me first say that the Windows account you use is not related to the Chrome account you use. Chrome uses your Google account.
Okay, yeah, well.
And you first set that up the first time you run Chrome. You log into a Google account. You can go into the Chrome settings and log out of that account, which is what you should do because it's your work account.
Okay.
Do you have a Gmail or a Google account that's your personal account?
Oh, yeah.
So what happened when you set it up is inadvertently or for whatever reason you logged into your work account on the Chrome browser.
But the major problem I'm having is that I went into my computer and deleted my user account. So now when I log onto Windows 10, it doesn't recognize me, and I can't put in my 4-digit code to enter. So I am...
How'd you do that?
Oh, don't
Did you?
Don't even go there.
That's called human error.
Yes, I think in tech code it's IDIOT.
ID10T. No, you are not an idiot. Let me tell you, our mantra here is it's not your fault. If it was easy to do that, then Microsoft did a bad job of designing their system.
Okay.
You know, it shouldn't be easy to delete your account.
Okay.
You deleted did you delete the actual user account on the computer?
Apparently, because when I put in my 4-digit code, it says the account no longer exists. Their user no longer
That's
exists.
weird. Did you, when you set up Windows 10, I recommend everybody do this. Don't listen to the nutty privacy advocates who say not to do this. I recommend you use a Microsoft account when you first log into Windows. Did you do that?
I don't remember.
You have to go. You actually have to jump through hoops not to. What Microsoft wants you to do is use your Microsoft account. Usually that's your name at Outlook.com or Hotmail.com.
Gmail.
Or not Gmail.
No, Outlook. Okay. So I whatever I did, I just did it via the mechanism to upload Windows 10 from. So what it would do if you had an existing Windows 7 or 8, it was using that login. Yeah.
It wouldn't create a new account. It would just say, oh, yeah, fine. And you can continue to use that password. It does, though, right there at the setup say, you know, it's a lot easier to have a PIN than logging in with your password. What would you like your PIN to be? And then your PIN is used in lieu of a password because, frankly, if somebody has physical access to your computer, it really doesn't matter. You're out of luck anyway. So they don't login security on a computer. In fact, for years with Windows 95 and 98, you just hit, if you didn't know the password, you just hit return. It would log you in anyway. So, because if somebody has physical access, you're out of luck. I don't understand how you deleted your account. That's terrible.
Yes.
Did you have data? Did you have documents that you need?
No, I have
backups. You have carbonite, right?
I have carbonite.
Good woman. All right. Well, okay. Hang on. I'm going to take a break. We've got to do a little commercial, but hang on. I'm breathing a sigh of relief. You didn't lose any data. So there's an easy way to start this all over again, and I think this is what I'm going to recommend. But we'll talk about that in a second. All right. We are walking you through the problem, Gina. Since you have a backup, that's good. You can now do something in Windows 10 they call recovery. Can you log into any account on Windows 10 at all?
No, but I can go to the troubleshoot page.
Okay. And then you can take it to recovery, and you can just basically say, restore this PC to its original settings.
That's what but it's still... So there's an option to go back to previous builds.
That's one. You don't want to do that because that'll take you back to the Windows 7 or 8 that you had originally.
Well,
look through those settings. There's one that will allow you to, without erasing data, go back to the beginning. You could try that, or one that with erasing data that basically makes it a clean install of Windows 10. That's what. Either one of those would be okay. Then, if you erase data, restore from Carbonite. Otherwise, it'll give you a chance to put in a new password, use a Microsoft account, and all should be well. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So the Microsoft account is the key, and I think a lot of people. Okay, we're back now, even though we're not on the air, Gina. But I had to go for that break. So, you can see recovery options.
So should I just select the reset this PC?
That's one. What other ones do you see?
Advanced options. And
yeah, go to advanced options.
It says systems restore. But every time I click on something to go to the next level, it asks for my code.
Yeah, because it doesn't want to erase it unless you say it's okay.
Yeah.
And that password does not work?
No.
Do the reset this PC.
Okay.
Worst case, you might go back to the previous version.
Okay.
And then you just do the Windows 10 upgrade.
Okay.
But reset this PC. Thank you, Microsoft. They finally put it into Windows 8 and now Windows 10. They should have put it in there forever because this solves a multitude of sins. The issue, of course, is a full reset deletes your data. I think they give you an option not to, but a full reset would delete everything and wipe the drive. But because you have Carbonite, you can restore. I wouldn't do it unless you have to. So if you can do it without deleting your data, do that. But you might have to because you don't have a login.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe you've already
don't mind.
deleted it. You might have already
I
deleted
don't
it.
mind. I don't mind restoring anything, but Leo, I just have one quick gizwiz, although please don't, I'm not trying to plagiarize.
That's okay.
If you Google recirculating pump, this is something all Californians should know about because...
I use one at home.
Oh, yes.
So you don't waste water heating up the hot water.
Exactly.
You do waste energy because the pump runs and keeps hot water in your pipes. But better to waste nowadays, waste a little bit of energy than waste a lot of water.
Exactly.
Yep, I have one on my heater. I think you're absolutely right. It's a great idea. In fact, I think this is the one I have. It has a timer on it, so when you're in bed or you're at work, it doesn't bother. But when you're at home, it keeps hot water in your hot water pipe, so you don't have to run the hot water to get to hot water.
Can I just say, Leo, I tried to reset this PC, and it's still asking for a username and password.
Is there a recovery option? Let me ask the chat room. Is there a recovery option that wouldn't ask for the password? She's got Windows 10. Do they still do the hidden admin account in Windows 10? Or is that over with? Do we know?
Should I go into safe mode?
No, that won't make any difference.
Okay.
There is a hidden administrator account. Yeah, you have to be in Windows to turn it on. I'm looking at that.
Yeah.
So none of those recovery options work without you entering a password.
Right.
I'm trying to think. What did you upgrade from? 8? 7?
7.
7.
7 Pro.
And you had a login with Windows 7 Pro that it should have maintained, and you're saying the login no longer works.
Yeah, and that I'm trying that. Well, there was another one, but I think I tried that too. And nothing that I've tried that I used in the past is working.
Yeah, I have to run, unfortunately. You might want to get a local geek. Working 11 to 2, what a hard life I have. 3 hours a day, 2 times a week. It's so hard, I'm really... See, that doesn't work. I have the best job in the world. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Last segment of the day. Talking to Gina off the air and trying to walk her through a reset of her PC. It still wants a password of some kind. Man, I know you've probably read, and there's a lot of attention being paid to the so-called privacy invasion that is Windows 10. Then there's a lot of articles because it drives a lot of traffic. These websites make so much money by you clicking these links. Windows 7 and 8, they did the same thing. They pushed an update. Look it. Unless you are a spy or a drug dealer or a terrorist, it's fine to have a Microsoft account and use that Microsoft account to log into Windows. Please do. Please do. If Gina had done that, then I could tell her how to recover her account. There's a forget password routine in Microsoft. It just makes everything easier. Plus, you can set up your Windows account with your Outlook mail and your Facebook and Twitter and other logins so that you just log in on your new computer to your existing Windows account, and all of a sudden, everything's populated and working, and it's just much easier. And here's the privacy issue that people are so worried about. Microsoft does assign you a unique ID, and if you allow it to, you can opt out of these, it will communicate that unique ID for advertising purposes so that advertisers will know what you're interested in, what sites you visit, and try to give you ads for things you want. which in my mind is a good thing. You don't want to see ads for stuff you don't want. You're going to see ads. You're going to see ads as you surf the web. Wouldn't you prefer that those ads are things you're interested in? That's all they're trying to do. They are not giving that information to, I don't even know who, Schmersh, the KGB. Who would they be giving that information to? Oh, you know, Gina goes to visit Pinterest a lot. What is that? What is that? Nobody wants that information. The so-called privacy invasions are, in my opinion, minor. Furthermore, a lot of attention paid to them putting this customer experience telemetry, that's what it is, on Windows 7 and 8. That's not for advertising. That's so Microsoft knows how you use Windows to try to improve it. They call it the Windows experience or the customer experience. It is not a critical update. So please continue to install critical updates. That's vital. It is in every case either a recommended or an optional update to Windows 7 or 8. So unless you explicitly install it, it won't install. And it's my opinion, and I feel strongly about this, that's completely harmless. It is not sending your secret information back to Microsoft. There is no evil genius sitting in a mountain lair trying to find out about you. No one cares about you. That is, in a way, this privacy stuff is a form of narcissism. Oh, I don't want them to know about me. I'm special. They don't care. They want to know how people in aggregate use Windows so they can make it better, easier to use, less buggy. It's completely harmless. And my biggest fear is that people will stop using Windows Update because they're afraid of getting this installed. They read the scare articles, and they will suddenly say, I don't want that. They'll find out about me. A, who cares? B, they won't because it's not a critical update. Please continue to install critical updates. That's more important than anything because you know what? There are bad guys who want to know about you. They want to know your credit card numbers and your bank account logins, and they do that by putting malware in your system, and the chief way they do that is by you not installing critical updates. So please do. Please. Pay no attention. It's really irresponsible of the tech press, in my opinion, to gin up all this concern over privacy and security when there is none. And in fact, my concern is that people will read these articles, and I know there are in the millions, and decide not to do Windows updates. Oh, no. And as a result, open themselves up to real bad guys who really do want your information so they can steal from you. Microsoft does not want your credit card information. They don't want to steal from you. The worst thing they want to do is give you ads that you're interested in. That's the worst. The worst thing. So please use your Microsoft account to log in and do not turn off automatic updates. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm getting excited about this. Yeah, Microsoft's somewhat to blame. Remember that whole Scroogled campaign? The Gmail man reads your email. Now that Microsoft's doing it, notice they don't do the Scroogled campaign anymore. They don't do anything. They were always, by the way, they were always reading your email. If you have spam fighting, computers are reading your email to try to find spam keywords and to delete spam. The only difference is whether they're using it to generate advertising that is in your interest. They don't give you more advertising. They just give you different advertising. And I would submit more palatable advertising. 8888 Ask Leo. If you disagree, you can call me, but I won't get you on the air because we're almost out of time. Next week. If you disagree, I would love to have this debate. Timothy, Michigan, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Timothy.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. Just a quick question. My wife and I are expecting our first child in January.
Yay!
She tasked me with, thank you. She tasked me with buying a digital camera and a camcorder, but me being the cheapskate and minimalist want to see if there's an alternative.
You don't want a camcorder. Nobody buys a camcorder anymore because every digital camera does great high-quality video. So you're set. All you need is a still camera. There are great ones. Canon, the S110 is excellent. That's very pocketable. These fold up small enough you could fit it in a shirt pocket. If you want a little bit better quality and you don't mind a little more bulk, Sony's RX100 is, I've recommended it again and again, is excellent. If you're really serious and you want interchangeable lenses, and this means that you become kind of a photographer, you're more serious about it, then there are great solutions too. The Olympus OMD is affordable and really high quality, going all the way up to the camera I use, which is a pro version of the Sony, the Alpha 7, A7. Those are all excellent cameras. I think, I mean, and by the way, your phone is going to be the primary camera you use. So make sure you get a smartphone with a camera that really is fast, because kids move.
We do.
Good.
Yeah, we have the first generation Moto X, but I know that there's alternatives too. But
the new one will be a little better, by the way, when it comes time to upgrade. Yeah. I would say. So, do you want super compact? What do you want?
It doesn't have to be super compact, but I just know that a lot of the DSLRs had like a time limit. People were talking about like it would only be about 15 minutes or so.
30 minutes of video. You don't want to shoot 30 minutes of video continuously anyway. Yeah. Nobody's going to watch that. My strong suggestion to you is, and do this, because I really love the little clips of video that I have of my kids. In between taking stills, do 6 seconds or 10 seconds of video with audio.
Okay.
You'll love that. But that's all you need. Don't worry about that. DSLRs are great. They're expensive and bulky. I think you want something in the middle that has good low light performance, because a lot of this is going to be indoors. You know, you're not going to set up lights to take pictures of your baby. The RX100 is a superb camera. That's from Sony. The Sony.
Great recommendation.
It's about $500 or $600. Sony RX100. Perfect for kind of the middle of the road, but great HD video. You could get an external microphone. The microphones built in are excellent. Just take stills, and every once in a while I do this. There's a little button on the side that says shoot video now. Press that button. Take 6 seconds of video. Don't move the camera much. Let the kid move while you hold the camera still. And then instead of panning, stop it, move, take another 10 seconds. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hey, have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today and Tech News Tonight. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.